Good afternoon, Smyrna First. I am Kristen Sudduth, and it is my pleasure to be here with you this afternoon. As you can tell, this is a little bit different for the Red Door newsletter, but we are excited to get the opportunity to talk with Reverend Kathryn Davis, who will be bringing the message on Sunday. I know that some of you have not had the opportunity to get to know her, so we wanted to give you that opportunity here today. Kathryn, it's good to see you again.
Good to be with you today.
Absolutely. Tell me a little bit, or don't tell me, I already know, tell our viewers a little bit more about yourself.
So we'll start with the things you do know. My name is Kathryn Davis, and I am from Birmingham, Alabama. I went to the University of Alabama. Roll Tide to all of my Bama out there. And I am married to Jessie Davis, who is also on staff. We are having a baby in anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. Who knows when she'll come? And we have the best dog named Julep. All of us have Instagrams, including our baby and our dog. So if you really want to know us, you can follow us there. I was trying to think of something, different that people might not know about me, but I thought back to my wedding when Jessie and I got married, and the pastor said, there's not much to learn about Kathryn. She puts everything on Facebook. And it's true. I am kind of an open book. And so, maybe something you don't know about me is that I have a brother and a sister, or that I love to cook and to bake.
That may be why we get along so well. I don't have a brother, but I do love to cook. So that is always fun. And I'm glad that you're here today. It's great to spend some time with you. And I know one of the things that we wanted to share with people was a little bit of your call to ministry, because that's a big step. And so we wanted to hear it from you in your own words. So tell us about that.
Yeah, the call to ministry is a big step. And unlike most ministers out there, I too struggled with my call to ministry and spent years and years wondering if it's what I should do. And so I'll take you all the way back to when I first felt the call, which is my freshman year of college, the second semester. I went home to Birmingham, Alabama from Tuscaloosa, and we were at this retreat, and it's where we lead some middle schoolers in deepening their faith. And I was serving communion, and we were praying at the end of communion, and it wasn't the voice of God that I heard, but it was this rush through my veins is the best way I can describe it, where I kind of looked up and I said, oh my gosh, I'm called to ministry. And so I went home and I sat my parents down and I said, Mom and Dad, I need to change my major. I said, I'm called to ministry. And, I should have expected their response. They said, Kathryn, we love you, we support you, and that we want you to do whatever is best. And so change your major to what you need to, do your research, and we will continue to walk this journey with you. And so I went back to Alabama. I changed my public relations major to actually an event planning degree, because ministry is just a series of events. And also I was hoping to have a wedding planning business one day as well. And so those kind of coincided to that degree. And I got an internship at the first place I could find, which was actually a Baptist church, which is different because I've grown up in the United Methodist Church. And so I was a little worried that I might not totally connect. And it's true, on Sunday mornings, I had a hard time connecting to the message. And so I went to the youth director and I said, is there any way that I could attend a Methodist church on Sunday mornings and continue this internship? And he said, you can stay and hinder your growth with God, or you can leave and let people down. Neither option was what I wanted to hear. And so I went home, I called my mom, and I said, maybe I'm not called to ministry. I left the youth ministry position and I said, but I'm called to volunteer at least. And so I focused on volunteering, and it takes a village in ministry, and you volunteers are so important. And so I don't want to discount that call to ministry on a volunteer level, but mine continued to push me further into ordained ministry. And, it was when Jesse and I were in a bad car wreck that I realized I was not letting myself live up to the purpose that God had for me. And so I said, I'm not going to settle. And then 2 years later, I did settle for the most comfortable job that I could find, because any 22-year-old who's offered a comfortable job is going to probably say yes. And so I continued to jump from job to job. And in those seasons of jumping from job to job, I realized that I was continuing to just run away from this call that God had for me. And I ended up at a local United Methodist church in a youth ministry position, and I loved it. And I realized in that moment that it really was a call to ministry that I was facing. I'm a planner. I like to know what I'm doing before I do it. And so I ended up actually at Birmingham Southern College, and I had a brand new coworker. And he sat me down and he said, let me ask you a question. I was like, okay, that's fine. I like answering questions. And he said, have you ever felt called to full-time ordained ministry? Well, that caught me off guard, because 2 hours before that, I had texted a friend from college, and I said, hey, I think I need to quit my wedding planning business and pursue ordained ministry full time. And so it was kind of this surreal moment of everything coming together. And it's at that point that I started applying to Candler. And something that not even Derek knows is that I found this Smyrna job online. And I said, this job is perfect, but I can't worship with Jesse on Sunday mornings because he already had a job in another Methodist church in Georgia. And we had not been worshiping together for 2 years. And so it was really important for me to worship with him. So kind of in an Abraham and Isaac story of sacrificing or being willing to sacrifice something that you love. And when my coworker and Jesse both read the job description, they were like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, you need to apply for this job. And I said, I know. And so I chose to apply for the job and ended up at Smyrna First, January 2019, and have been loving it ever since. And, I went to Candler School of Theology beginning last August, and I spent my first year there. And it was actually following a call to pediatric chaplaincy, where I said, I'm called to the hospital setting. And then I spent an entire semester in the hospital. And while it's near and dear to my heart, every time I went, I missed the local church. I missed Smyrna. And so it only took me about half a semester to realize that my call to ordained ministry is actually in the pulpit and in the local church.
That's awesome. Well, we're really, really glad that you went ahead and applied for that position and came to be here with us at Smyrna First. I know that you and I have worked together a lot in the last several months as we've navigated building this digital world that we have now. And I know that I've enjoyed it, and it's been a lot of fun. And I've loved getting to know you and Jesse, who now is on staff, as you said. So you guys are definitely back worshiping together on Sundays, just at Smyrna, and maybe behind a computer and a camera, but in the same place nonetheless.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we ended up together. That was a huge blessing, and it felt like that Abraham and Isaac story continued. Abraham was willing to make that sacrifice, and we were too. And then God told Abraham, no, don't kill your son. And so getting to worship together is kind of showing that come full circle where, we might be behind the screens, but we're still together.
Absolutely. And, God does that for us in really amazing ways where you wouldn't necessarily see it coming. But that is always a little bit of that promise that we hold on to. Let me ask you a little bit about what is next. I mean, I know we have so many things planned for the digital campus as well as Smyrna First in general, but tell me a little bit about the things that you're working on.
Yeah, so this digital campus is new to me as it is to everyone else. I got appointed this summer, and I knew that I was working towards an appointment, but I didn't exactly know what it would be. And so I'm really, really excited to be taking on something that's new, not only in Smyrna, but kind of in the world. And something that I've been working on since the beginning is the Methodist Mixtape podcast. And it's going to address, real life issues and struggles, but it's also going to address what can we do in Atlanta that's fun, and it's going to address creating a community around empowering women and men empowering men. And there are just so many things that are going to go into this podcast that we can use in our lives and pull theology into it as well.
I'm so excited about this. I know that you've worked really hard on it over the last several months, and so I'm excited to see it coming together to be ready to put out here in the next few months for the folks at Smyrna First. I know we have some really exciting things getting ready to happen over at y'all's house with Josie Kate coming in, so we will not see you for a couple of weeks, but then you'll be back in the swing of things mid-fall.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a couple weeks to, learn how to be a mom, because I hear it comes somewhat naturally, but I also hear that you don't sleep a single second at first. Nope. While we're excited, we're also slightly terrified, and I'm a tad bit of a workaholic sometimes, so we'll see what taking time off actually looks like in my life, but I'm really excited to be able
I was really interested when you said something about taking time off. I thought, oh, okay. We'll see how that goes.
It's harder to fully disengage now that everything is social, because I live on my social media already. And so, I'm glad that I'll be able to stay connected. And I think it'll be really beneficial going forward for the digital campus as well, for me to have truly been on the other side and to know what it's like to stream a service from in the home and also try to balance motherhood as well.
Absolutely. I'm hoping that we get some great insight from you being at home for a couple of weeks. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. I know we're still working from home and you guys are as well. So I appreciate you taking the time, and I know everybody's loved getting to know you a little bit.
Well, thanks for having me. It was great to share my story.
Absolutely. And we are looking forward to hearing from Reverend Kathryn Davis this Sunday. Do we have a sermon title?
There's Always Room.
There's always room. So we are looking forward to hearing that on Sunday, and we will see you soon.